Welcome back to Vampire Survivors, and today in the Among Us DLC we are playing Imposter Nino, I think was the name. I'm not 100% sure. Now, this will be a little bit complicated today because I recorded the entire episode. Man, I had some amazing sucking jokes in there, like really top tier jokes, but my microphone wasn't recording, and this was like a disconnect issue with the hardware and had nothing to do with the actual microphone. This sometimes happened in the past, was like a year now that it didn't happen anymore, and it happened again. So I have to redo this, and the way I did it is I cut out a bunch of stuff where I knew it's more boring, and I hope this kind of works out. But hey, the nice part is I can now explain to you my thoughts and what happened going into this, my expectations, and how this weapon far exceeded my expectation. Now in the very beginning I didn't know anything about the character or the weapon except that he loses body parts. I knew that they heal you because on the wiki it said you can take Band of healing, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting, until I realized you heal like 20 HP. So that's 40 damage around you, that doesn't kill anything later on in the stage, and it's a wasted Arcana. But in the beginning, right now, we're just trying to gather all the stuff. Now I wasn't sure if the duplicator even works on this weapon, the amount, so I was a little bit confused about that, but it seems like it affects the evolution, so this should be more than fine. And we are pretty much right now just farming up, because you may have already noticed, take some time to get there. You know, the weapon is not killing a lot, and luckily the little Among Us guy that we get, the little imposter, he is throwing around bones. I think he is. Actually, wait, now that I think about it, I'm not sure anymore. Is it him? I'm pretty sure it's him. Because there were different weapon effects, so I'm a little bit confused, but yeah, pretty much this is the main way how we kill enemies now. A very solid character, like it's really simple to not die, and I like that. And you may have seen with some of these vents on the floor, there's experience jumping through them. It looks like when enemies walk on top of it, they get dragged in, and then I think they take damage and die, or I'm not even sure really what happens there. So you may have also noticed that the character not only drops body parts, those are the green things laying around, and they are actually indicated as a chicken on the map, which looks hilarious later on when we take a look at the map, because it's just filled with chickens, like everywhere. But also, when I take damage, we transform, and some of these transformations, they have an explosion effect, which is again a very consistent way to just kill early, weak enemies, which is great because the weapon kind of sucks early on. You know, later on the evolution, honestly, blew my mind, was amazing, in a different way than you may think. Like, it wasn't that it's super incredibly powerful, but you'll see it, okay, you'll see it. But yeah, we are about to be done here with this evolution. Come on, there we go, level 8, now we can evolve it, and that means we'll have a first look at this. There's chests over there, what are you doing, Dex? There, right, it's maxed out, what are you looking? It's always funny to do this, you know, because I'm like, what is this idiot doing there? Press open! Dex! Open! Is he falling asleep or something? But there we go. So all it reads is that it sucks in enemies, okay? And one thing I didn't notice in the beginning is this thing always gets created opposite of the character. So now that I turned it on the left side, when I walk to the left side, it goes to the right side, you know, the next time it attacks. It took quite a while to notice that. Interesting effect though, I don't remember that actually. The laser effect or the light effect that it has there. Okay. Oh, that's interesting to see that again. So you may notice that all the enemies, well, not even all the enemies, right? No, not all the enemies. Wait, are all the enemies? Not all the enemies get sucked in, or at least it loses sucking power over distance. You can call this a wireless blowjob. Jeez. Cut that out, cut that out. Don't call it that. Okay, so, yeah, the weapon is quite insane. Like, it deals a lot of damage, it sucks in all the enemies. The more curse the enemies have, the better this weapon effect actually becomes, because the enemies just speed up and they all land in there. Now, for a while, this will protect us actually from damage, because no one gets to hit us, but you'll see eventually. Turns a little bit into a problem. Like, you know, if you have a weapon that forces all the enemies to walk over you when they start dealing a lot of damage, it's a little bit of a big deal. And my goal was, initially I said, okay, there's a mountain there, by the way, that shows us the duplicator's working. All is good, all is perfect. We are, of course, focusing on area, duration, stuff like that. But yeah, initially, what I said was, okay, so we'll do this run. If I die at, let's say, 14-15 minutes, we'll do this again with the life sign support that gives us bonus stats, heals me, and just turns us broken, you know, to experience that. However, if we get to 25 plus minutes, that's important to know, then this video counts as done. Because we technically, you know, we achieved it. It's far enough, we don't have to improve it. Usually when you get to like minute 25 onwards, the weapon was strong enough to reveal or to showcase its power, and it's not really worth it to redo the entire thing for like 5 minutes of gameplay. Like, it's really not worth it. Because, like, you can imagine just what happens, or the weapon deals a little bit more damage. Wow, that's it. So now I'm on my way down to, well, Boogaloo Evolutions. We want to have more area, because it did say on the wiki that you, like, want to have area. Like, the more area you have, the more sucking area it has. Now that I think about it, I'm not even sure if that's true. Like, I'm trying to recall, like, it didn't really look any different at the end of the video, I just realized. I mean, like, again, the enemies got sucked in faster. I guess maybe the main sucking zone that has the maximum sucking power is just bigger. So you don't see a major difference unless you know that got bigger. So yeah, here I was looking, well, you already know what's coming, okay? It's time for Boogaloo Evolutions. And I just noticed that we have 433 HP. That is quite a lot. There we go. We'll take the silver ring. And because we have so much HP, I decided to go for the Metallio left, since it's percent HP increase. If you have this much HP, quite nice. The character bonus stats are, by the way, recovery and wings, which makes me wonder now, why does he have so much bonus HP? Where is it coming from? Where it's coming from, we got it, but yeah, I'm not too sure. Because the wiki said it's only like 50% bonus movement speed, 10%, like something really low. And I think +2 recovery or +1 recovery, it really doesn't matter. It's actually, oh, but okay, that's not true. It actually matters a lot, because if you have +1 recovery, it doubles the healing from the things on the floor, like the chicken and stuff like that. So yeah, it's actually quite good. So at this point I was a little bit concerned, because we have guardians around, and even though the sucking power deals like 300 damage, and also keep the damage numbers in mind, that at 4 minutes we already deal 300 damage. Like, how do we kill the guardians, right? They have 90,000 HP with 300 damage. We need 300 hits, right? 2 zeros, 30,000. Yeah, 90,000. That is a lot of hits on the Guardians. I mean, the most amazing part, what actually surprised me, was that the Guardians get sucked in. I thought they would just ignore it and it will be impossible to deal with them, because eventually with too much curse they'll just run at me and kill me. But so far, everything is going quite well. Now, for the next Arcana, I was already thinking about this. We could go for Saraband of Healing, but again, doesn't really make a big difference. Would be nice for more recovery though. Awake was an alternative, because we have so much HP and you get 10% bonus HP, as well as armor, which means you take less damage. So not only do you get a huge amount, right now there would be 58 HP. Not only do you get a huge amount, but you also take less damage, and you have 3 revivals. And my goal was, I wanted to hopefully beat the stage. You know, this is always visual thinking, you know how powerful the stage is. Just a warning ahead of time. Don't expect this to be a win, okay? I don't want to disappoint you. But, like, you know, you get what I mean, right? Those were the 2 options. Now the third one is, do you see that when I sometimes transform, we have this explosion on the floor? And the wiki said something along the lines of, because like the character has an effect when you get hit, and like the way the weapon works and stuff, you will get hit. It's very good to go for retaliatory weapons, because then they get triggered, and if you have the Bloodline Arcana, then you get like bonus HP and stuff like that. They also get triggered, right? So that's good. And I was thinking, okay, so we can't go for the... Oh yeah, there I was considering, do we go for the life sign support, but I decided to just say, nah, let's skip it. Let's skip it. Maybe later, the evolution, but if I notice that everything is going wrong, but not now. But yeah, Bloodline Arcana, it wasn't certain for me whether it works or not, and even in hindsight I would say I'm 87% sure it works. Like, did you see that explosion? That looks like retaliatory damage, but it may not count as retaliatory damage. The easy way to test this is go on a new stage, take the Bloodline Arcana with super weak enemies, and then explode all over them and see if your HP went up by like 50 or so. It must be a bunch, not just a little bit, because that could just be them touching you, but like a bunch, like 30 to 50 HP. Because the issue here is the enemies are actually quite tanky, and we deal like 20 to 30 damage to them, I think, with the explosion, which is not a lot. you know? So if the enemies have 1k HP, 2k HP, and you explode all over them, you'll get barely any kills. That means barely any HP, because you actually have to kill them with the retaliatory damage. But we'll take a look at this later. As I said, like I'm 87%, something like that. I'm certain that it does count as retaliatory damage, but there is a chance that it was just enemies running into me. I think this was the point where I actually realized that, like, depending on how I walk, it changes the direction of the Saki. Oh, I think that was actually the point where I made a joke about how to get a husband, you know, with this insane sucking power or something like that. I don't know. It was a good quality joke, okay, it was top tier. Made me laugh for like half a minute, okay, it was great. But like I can't do it again because it was in the moment. So I'm really good with in the moment stupidity, okay? I'm an expert at it. Oh yeah, that's where I realized where all the chickens are from. So, and then I was like, what? That's not usually how many chickens we have. And then I noticed, okay, we have these body parts. Do they count as chickens? And I tried to pick them up. It was a little bit hard to see if they actually disappear from the map or not. But if I would have just used my brain and checked how many chickens are on my screen, there are usually like 1 to 2 chickens, you know? And on the map there are like 20. Where are all the chickens? It's obviously the body parts. To be fair, the map is zoomed out, so it looks like you have a lot around you, but in reality it's like very distant. But do you see it in the background? What happened here? Genevieve just appeared. Genevieve just appeared. And like, you know what the funniest part was? I thought my main weapon changed because I transformed, and I now have the killer stuff, and I didn't even realize that Genevieve is here. You will actually notice the moment I realize is when I pause and, okay, it was here. It took me like 20 seconds to realize there is a boss next to me attacking me. But yeah, I don't understand what happened here. Was the sucking power so powerful that it just sucked in the boss from half across the map? Like literally, he's at the very top. We'll later on walk to him up there, which was a very bad decision. But we'll walk to him there to show you where he is. It's really far away. And I don't know what's happened. This is the very first time ever this happened. What am I doing? I think I was also talking about like what weapons would be good with this, and like I was thinking most of the weapons, yeah, komm, hör auf, we already talked about that. I'm talking about Genevieve. Is that actually the time where I talk? No, I talked about it before. I think I was just like more and more confused how this happened now, if he just got sucked down. But yeah, talking about like additional weapons you could use with this weapon, because you have to keep in mind, it pretty much like forces the enemies to all bunch up in a spot, but there are not that many like weapons that can attack precisely over there. Like something I was thinking of is Hellfire could be interesting, right? Because it randomly attacks enemies, and because you have so many in one spot, and if you then have the Heart of Fire Arcana, boy oh boy, a lot of damage. Unironically, for the first time ever, the arrow, maybe the new wires. Oh yeah, this is where I was talking about like debating, should we go for a wake or stuff like that. Like I didn't know what Arcana to go for, but the wires would probably work really well because the enemies chitter around so much. But hey, Lightning Ring. Huge AoE, strikes a huge amount of times, and having like 80-90% of all the enemies clumped up together on one side means if you strike, you just hit all the enemies all the time. Okay, that would be quite an insane weapon. Now we'll skip forward to the Arcana, and we'll have more skips in the future. Here I was still like thinking, oh, should we just go for Awake? And I was like, nah, but I don't want to win with that, that's kind of boring. And like nothing affects this weapon, sadly. I was also theorizing about like what Arcana would work. Oh yeah, wait, I need to explain. So armor affects the listed weapons, this weapon is not listed, so no bonus damage, but the character gains bonus damage based on missing health. Oh, now I'm reading. Okay, I was a little bit too fast. Okay, hurry up. Yeah, bonus damage is armor multiplied by 5, so plus 40, but only for the listed weapons. But the character gains bonus damage, it's your max health minus current health divided by 10, and defeating enemies gives plus 0.5 max health with retaliatory damage. Now there are two types of retaliatory damage. One is the base one on the character, he gets that just from the Arcana, which is, I think, armor, no, well, armor increases it. But yeah, I'm just like checking if our 640 goes up. There was an explosion, by the way, nothing changed, so but again, the issue is the explosion damage is so weak, even if it works, we don't frequently get to see it. Oh, there we actually got plus 3 HP, and keep in mind that means we killed 6 enemies with contact damage. But I think this wasn't like an explosion or anything, but just because enemies get sucked around, and I sucked them from left to right. That's not a sentence I thought I'd ever say. Hey boy, I sucked you from left to right. Yeah, they just fly through me. So that was most likely contact damage. Also, we just crossed 100k kills at 12 minutes. Very respectable. Like, unexpectedly respectable. That is insane, right? That is quite good. Now, you'll notice something very interesting about the weapon later on. If you look at the kills, and by interesting, I mean, like, I guess good to know, but not something great. So keep an eye out on the kill numbers, okay? Like, I don't even know where it went wrong. Like, 100k kills at 12 minutes, that's insane, right? Like, if you consider that you have to kickstart the weapon, get everything going. There we got a bunch of HP, by the way. Like, we were at 646. Yeah, here again, look at this. The explosion happened in the background, very important. And now we got 13 HP, that means we got like 25 kills at least. Okay, and doing that with contact damage is insanely unlikely. This is what made me believe that it works, like it counts as retaliatory damage, but it's just like so low damage that you don't... Actually, there are ranged enemies in here, and bullets count as enemies in this game. Yeah, believe it or not, they actually count as enemies. So if a bullet touches you and deals damage and disappears, that counts as killing the bullet with contact damage, and that gives you more HP. Huh, now that I watch this again, yeah. I'm not so sure about that anymore, if it's actually retaliatory. Okay, I'll decrease it from 87% to 57%. Gotta keep it in the 7% there. I still have a slight tendency towards the explosion that, like, the character transformation has, can count. But that was a big boom. Wait, that was a big boom, right? We were at like 770, 760 or something like that, right? Right? That was a huge amount of HP, I think. There we go, old experience, we level up actually quite a bunch. It's respectable, like it's quite good. I don't know, so it constantly says like 400 enemies were evicted. I wonder how this exactly works. Like, does this mean, yeah, flashing VFX, why did I turn it off? I think I wanted to see the difference and just the explosion was gone. Also in the last video about Among Us, I think someone said that I didn't like use the pressure blades right. No, the issue was actually I had the flashing VFX turned off, and when it got triggered, when I stepped in them in order, at least I'm like 95% sure I actually did it. Like, the effect got triggered, but you didn't visually see it because the effects were turned off. So I was like, okay, like, this doesn't do anything, why should I then, like, even bother doing it, right? Like, it doesn't do anything. But yeah, that was the actual issue, because someone made, like, a sarcastic comment that, like, oh, you have a weapon counting from 1 to 5 and you don't even use, like, you don't do it. It's like, well, I did it and I thought it does nothing because the effects were turned off, okay? But yeah, we just made another huge time skip. We are at 22 minutes. Now this is where all of this gets a little bit spicy, like very spicy. If you take a look at the kill counter, we are not killing a lot of enemies at all anymore. That means enemies are surviving, and I'm noticing, hold on a second, I'm taking a lot of damage. Now a lot of the times I just like linger around, I don't do anything, wait until I got hit a bunch and then I just heal up again, because look at all the green stuff on the floor, not the experience, the food. We can heal up quite quickly. But very soon this will turn into a scenario where I keep taking an insane amount of damage. NFT also works really well with this, by the way. You would think it's better to turn around and fire in the enemies getting sucked in, but right now NFT is more of a defensive shield in front of me that pushes away the enemies, while the Saki behind me sucks them in. You know. Also, if I have to poop, it goes right into the mouth of that thing. That's kind of a funny thought that I just had. Don't have that, okay? That's not funny. Sorry. So yeah, at this point I was noticing how far the food gets like thrown out, and it would be really helpful to have a huge amount of pickup range, right? Because then when you get hit and you create this food, then you would just automatically pick it up and heal. So I made a decision, we'll walk up to where the boss would be, but like we teleported him down there somehow, so huge sucking power again. But I want to have the attract orbs. Now the issue is I have them banished, that means while I can pick them up, I can't level them up with level ups. Like only the stuff that is on the floor. And I don't know what happened there. Like once we get to that point and I have all of them, I had a feeling that the increase in pickup range made the food drops, the body parts, get thrown out further. maybe that was wrong. Like the reason I didn't have an issue with this entire thing is the enemies get killed very far away from me. And as you know, we have the growth doubling at the bottom there. Like every 40 seconds, the growth is doubled in the game and the crown appears. So I want to pick up the experience at that point, but because the enemies all get sucked away to the side, I actually have no issue getting all the experience or avoiding it, you know. Like you'll notice if you take a look at our experience bar at the top, I'm just not getting experience unless I walk around. But like super rarely, even now with the increased pickup range, I don't get experience. I mean, now I have to fight for my survival. Is this like, do we lose a revival here? It could be close because I don't see chickens around. Oh no. I mean, there's a bunch of food down there. I actually don't remember when I died the first time. And yes, I just said the first time. That means it wasn't the last time. Listen. We have a weapon that sucks in all the enemies over me. And like starting at 25 minutes, the enemies will have a huge amount of damage, in like contact damage when they touch you. So this will turn quite critical. And I'm running out of food here. It looks like there's a lot around, but it's actually not that much, and we only heal for like 50 HP per pickup, which sounds like a lot, but it's not. We have like 750 HP right now, so it's nothing. Oh no. But yeah, we reached minute 25. You may notice that it's getting like really laggy and my HP is getting decimated. So I made a decision. I will walk back down because there's so much food down there and up here is pretty much nothing left. What am I even doing now? What am I doing? I think this was the first time I was debating if I should walk back down because there's so much food. The issue is, look at the enemies constantly dealing damage to me, right? If I walk around, this still happens because they spawn on the sides. And if I walk down there, I will not have food for almost the entire way. Like some random bits that drop down, yes, but mostly I will not have anything. So it means I'm guaranteed to die. And if I would get into a scenario where the enemies keep dealing more damage to me than I heal, but I can offset like 95% of it. If I die twice going down, then that just lost me the game, you know? But I died now and we have still 4 minutes to go. 2 super hardcore waves at 28-29 minutes. And at this point I was theorizing, if we went for Awake and we die at like 29 minutes pretty much, then this would have been an easy win, okay? So that is good for you to know that Awake would have been a win if we managed to get to 29 minutes. Now if you take a look at the kill counter, it's in the single digits. This weapon has no scaling at all at this point. Like, I don't fully understand what happened there. Like, we went from such a powerful and strong weapon to something that just deals no damage at all. And the confusing part is, we have a huge amount of limit breaks, right? So we get more damage, but also we have a huge amount of might. When I lose HP, we get bonus damage on the weapon as well. That also gets multiplied as far as I know, but not 100% sure about that actually, now that I think about it, maybe not. Point being, we buffed it up by quite a lot, and you would expect that this keeps up with the enemy growth. And like, because we have so much amount, we hit the enemies so many times when they get sucked in. Like, you know, it's a deadly tongue that's good. If you didn't get that, it's fine. I'll not explain it. But yeah, stats are looking quite good. I was talking about what if the weapon had an insta-kill chance. Like, and you don't need to make it like 10% or like 5%, just make it 1%. With the luck that we have right now, which is a total of 100%, so a 4 times multiplier, it would just be a 4% chance every single time they get sucked out, right? And I think this would make sense because you suck them into the vacuum, so them just insta-dying, having a chance to insta-die the moment they get sucked in, not on every hit, just when they get sucked in, makes sense. And I think that was also the point where I talked about the freezing again, that you could have a 10% chance on every single enemy getting sucked in that they get frozen. Because it's space, right? And space is really cold, it's ice cold, and that is reasonable, right? Not a repeating chance, like you can't do it every single trigger you suck them in. Like, do you see how they get sucked in, then they bounce for a moment because they don't get sucked in, and then they get sucked in again? Not every single trigger, just the very first one maybe, or I guess maybe every single trigger. That would be too extreme though. If you have like 50% luck, then like 50% chance to freeze, that's way too much. Yeah, but no, that would make sense. And then you could go for the other Arcana as well. Like, it would be by the Arcana. Not just the weapon itself can do it, but the Arcana would enable it. And then you could also go for the one where you freeze enemies, it shoots out projectiles. I think that would be nice. This is a little bit what I'm missing with these weapons, the new ones. Again, they have the same syndrome that not really a lot of Arcanas affect them, which is a little bit sad because Arcanas could be so much fun. And I really feel like Arcanas are completely outdated. And by the way, we only have one revival left with 1.5 minutes, so I will try to talk less now and focus more on the actual gameplay. So my goal here was I had to walk around and get as many freezes as I could, and I wanted to have, like, just the moment I can have it, I want it. We really don't care about the curse doubling on the enemies, it makes no difference for us because the weapon just always sucks in the enemies over us and I take damage. I mean, optimally speaking, we want to freeze them while curse is going on, I think at least. Maybe that's actually false, because curse makes them faster, that means they have less time to actually hit me. I don't think even without curse they get to hit me multiple times. Well, now we are 29 minutes, and you notice like an annoying pattern. When they get sucked in and they bounce back when the sucking stops, they bounce into me where I take damage. But a very interesting thing happened here. I just stopped taking damage. Like, look at this. I'm not taking any damage. I don't know what's going on. It doesn't last that long. I should have just kept collecting chickens because the moment I start taking damage again, I'm panicking. Look at how this smells. I have 750, 800 HP or something at this point. We just lost like half the HP. So yes, the enemies deal quite a lot of damage. We have 30 seconds left though. If we find one freeze, it's almost guaranteed to be a win. If we find 2 freezes, it's 100% guaranteed. And then there we go. I just picked up a freeze. The enemies are frozen. That means they only have 7 seconds to kill me, which is not enough to go through a second, like a revival. And there's another freeze. So the weapon actually managed to beat the stage. My mind was blown. Like, the utility on this weapon is absolutely ridiculously insane. And I hope, well, that your mind was also a little bit blown. I tried to like make it sound like we didn't beat the stage, but we actually did it. That was amazing. And there you go. Damage wise, it really wasn't that insane. You know, it's just the utility of the weapon to suck away the enemies. That was the crazy part, but it did a decent job. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, then don't forget to subscribe and give the video a like. See you the next time.